We're here with Bob Ferrante, impromptu show here on all our social media channels for some pretty big news. I mean, Jordan Travis announces he's coming back for the fifth season at Florida State, the sixth year in college football, and I mean I think the big news that everyone was hoping for. It was kind of definitely a bit up in the air, but I mean, hard to overstate how big this one is for Florida State, Bob.
The best recruits you can get are those 1 year guys who have already been in the system. They know the playbook, they're leaders, they're veterans. Yeah, I mean, this one feels like one that I think Mike Norvell, Alex Atkins, the staff, they put together a plan in front of Jordan Travis and said, hey, if you want to come back, these are the things that you can do personally. You can help this team accomplish. I know Alex Atkins said last week he wasn't going to push or campaign for guys to try to help them make a decision. I think in the end, if you're a coach and you're asked by a player, yes, a coach is going to help you and kind of show you what the options are, whether you stay or go. And this is a huge one, just for your culture, for your leader on offense. He commands the huddle. He's the guy who really runs things. So great for Florida State and great for Jordan Travis too.
I think huge for Florida State. I think when you look at as great as this season has been, if Jordan were to move on, which I mean, the thing we keep going back to, if you go back to ACC kickoff coming into the season, Jordan got asked pretty directly, "Hey, are you thinking this is going to be your last year in college football?" And he said yes. Pretty like it wasn't a hemming and hawing. It was a pretty distinct, yeah. I think this is going to be it for me. And so I mean, obviously things change. I think NIL plays a role in changing that. Jordan has carved out a really nice NIL niche in Tallahassee, and that's I mean it's been a big deal for him, and I'm sure makes the decision a little easier. But I mean, I think you could absolutely make the case that this, as great as the season's been for Florida State, there would be some real questions about next year's team and how you build off the momentum if you're installing a new quarterback. If it's I mean, it's if you have to hit the portal or if it's a battle between Tate Rodemaker and AJ Duffy, whoever else. I mean, maybe Brock Glenn comes in here in a few months, but it's just so much easier to know. I mean, to be able to build around Jordan. I mean, we talked about he's now in the top 10 got in the top 10 in passing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns against Florida in that game. I mean, he might push on top 5 of both. No one else is in the top 10 of both. There's a case to be made. He could push for the top 5 of both, and I mean, absolutely be in the Heisman conversation to start next season by coming back.
Yeah, I've pretty consistently said over the last couple of months, I'm not sure we've seen a quarterback evolve at Florida State as much as Jordan Travis. Again, from that run only niche guy who rescued them up at Boston, three Novembers ago, to where he has come and where he's developed as a passer and as a leader, how he has built confidence in himself. I think always a competitor, but not always the confident guy. I think that's where we've seen a big difference in Jordan Travis. And something you were kind of mentioning is just the quarterback position, how important it is. Who would the quarterback be if Jordan weren't back? We've seen a busy day in the ACC where Devin Leary's made a decision to transfer. Keaton Slovis has made a decision to transfer. DJU, Phil Jerkovich going from Boston College to Pitt. We're seeing a lot of moves around college football. And those are some veteran guys who will bring a presence to new teams, but you cannot replace a guy who's been there and done that with these receivers, running backs, tight ends, offensive linemen, this coaching staff. It feels like it will be it feels like it would be very seamless for him to progress going into this 2023 season.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, I mean, Kayshon Boutte, say he's coming back at LSU. I think there's absolutely a world where that's a top 10 matchup to start next season in Orlando. Not to already look ahead to the next September when the season's not already over, but I mean, it's exciting too. I mean, for so many reasons. And I think I saw Michael in the comments said he thinks this will be a ripple producing for the portal, and I agree with that. You know what else I think it might be ripple producing for is the current roster. I mean, in the minutes after that announcement, you saw Fabian Lovett send the thinking emoji. I think he's a guy we've thought would be gone and may still be gone, but you have to imagine that gives him a little more to think about of depending on what that draft feedback is, depending on if he gets what grade he gets. thinking about maybe using that last year and being a part of what could be a special team. Trey Benson has already tweeted about it. Another guy with a decision. Jared Verse has already tweeted about it. Another guy with a decision. I mean, so much of I think what this team culture has become has been because of Jordan and the leader he is. He's not the most vocal guy, but I think he's a really important behind the scenes guy. And I mean, I think the ripples that could have for the roster. Do I think all those guys are going to return? No, but Jordan coming out so quickly and kind of being the first one to announce the decision, I think is a big deal.
It's a table setter to steal what Devin Travis was from 2010 to 2012 with the baseball team, a leadoff guy. He was a table setter for the big hitters. Could we see some big hitters come up here in December and make decisions that will really shape what we think, like you said, could be a top 10 team? Hey, look, Trey Benson, he could and maybe should go. But what is his draft outlook? How does he stack up against all the running backs out there in the country? Was the NFL Draft Advisory Committee tell him, as well as all these other guys from, we think Jamie Robinson is gone. We think Jared Verse is gone. But after those two guys, lots of decisions to be made. And like you said, the culture is here where guys care about each other. They've seen the growth together. If you've been here truly as a player more than just one season, you have seen this progress firsthand. We've talked to guys like Robert Cooper, who have seen the amazing change over their careers. So all these guys are weighing it. Like the beauty of it is something else that we've talked about pretty consistently too, is the NIL factor. And you've written a lot about, Jordan Travis, his NIL group. We've written a lot about Rising Spear, what they're doing for athletes. NIL is a good opportunity now for a young man who says, maybe my draft grade isn't what I think it could be or should be. Let me come back to school, get my degree or work toward my degree. There are NIL opportunities there for me, and I can continue to help myself grow on the field and my team grow. These are the real positives to NIL that I think could help Florida State over the long haul, keep some of these guys together, and who knows what they can accomplish. I think we've hit on this a little bit privately as a group. Is Florida State a potential preseason ACC number one pick? Are they going to be a sexy pick where people will always think Clemson was it, and now maybe Florida State will have some people thinking about, are they a candidate to take the ACC in 2023?
Look at votes. I mean, I think if they're not picked to win it, I mean, there aren't divisions anymore. I think if they aren't picked to win it, they'll probably be second behind Clemson just because that's been. But I mean, it's probably that hasn't happened since I would imagine 2017. I don't think they got on any in 2018. If so, those were misguided votes, shall we say? But yeah, no, I mean it's significant. And I mean, frankly, with the 3-5-5 schedule going into effect next year, and it's a shame for Florida State. The 12-year playoff isn't going into effect. Could Florida State be in the 4? Yes, they could. But that's the margins for error are so slim, So, but you would feel good, I would say, about them maybe being in the 12-team playoff next year. But yeah, no, I mean it's with the 3-5-5 schedule. If you look at Florida State's schedule, it's not an especially challenging one. I mean, especially by what it's been. I mean, NC State, who's been on there every year of late, is not on there. Louisville, who's been on there every year of late, is not on there. I mean, it's Virginia Tech, it's Duke, it's Pittsburgh, and that's not to take away from those teams. I mean, Duke was great this year. I know Pitt added Phil Jerkovich from the portal today, but there is absolutely reason to believe in Florida State. And I mean, have this be it was already, I think, going to be a fun offseason. I think it has the chance to really ramp that up now just because of what those expectations may be like going into next year.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of decisions to be made. Does this coaching staff stay intact? A lot of programs will be coming after Alex Atkins. A lot of programs will be coming after all the coaches. When you have top 20 offenses and defenses, that's going to happen. We have players who have to still make decisions on potentially opt-outs. Do you stay? Do you go? I think Mike Norvell is building something here. We've seen that slow incremental growth toward something really special. Fun Florida State team to watch. I think through how many years in a row have we watched some bad Florida State football? And fans, you've made that decision to travel or not travel to Tallahassee. Now I think you're seeing some fun games, and if you're around the state, coming to Orlando to see Oklahoma in a bowl game, and then coming to Orlando again to see LSU in the opener, you have to feel pretty good about where Florida State football is. I think a lot of guys like to say, leave the place better than you found it. That's something that a lot of players are thinking, and maybe they're thinking that with my decision to return. Does a Jordan Travis say, I really have a chance to leave a true mark on this program by coming back? And I think when he eventually talks and does a more detailed interview, we'll hear some of those things like that, some of those specific reasons why he's doing it. I think in the end, it's that connection with the coaching staff and the players will kind of hear that love and passion for why he's doing this.
You almost wonder if it almost tracks back to his love for Mike Norvell and Kenny Dillingham early in his tenure, where I know he talked pretty candidly about how he almost walked away from football before the 2020 season. He talked about that 2 years ago, like at AC kickoff before the 2021 season, when both him and Mackenzie Milton went, and he said he was pretty close, and that kind of their belief in him and just their reinstilling of him as a quarterback, and kind of, and just after he'd kind of had some doubts about that after early in his FSU tenure, I think that was a big deal for him. I mean, to answer your question, Adam, yes, I think they could be. We'll see how things break. We'll see how decisions fall elsewhere in college football. But uh, I mean, if they win the Cheez-It Bowl, they're probably going to finish the season top 10. And if you finish the season top 10 and bring back as much as Florida State could bring back, I think there is reason to believe they will be preseason top 10. We should get out of here. We don't want to go too long on this. We'll definitely have a part of a longer discussion at a later date, Bob. Do you think, just to be safe, should he consider a name change to Jordan Ravis or Jordan Woe Ravis for the Heisman talk, just to be safe this offseason? And maybe better safe than sorry situation.
I'm terrible at this naming stuff. Are we trying to get a W in there somewhere just to
Yeah, if he's
continue?
going to win
Yeah,
the Heisman
yeah.
at Florida State, he's either breaking the trend or I mean, it's Ward Winky Winston. Some people have said the WA, WE, WI. Now next would be WO. So is it Ravis?
These are
Going
good
through all the
things
vowels.
for his Just Win group to come up with an NIL related T-shirt to kind of to work this in somehow. But I think whether he's got a W in the last name or not, this decision will get W's in the win column for Florida State in 2023. It'll be a big decision for a lot of guys coming up too. Are they going to join Jordan Travis and the Seminoles on
Yeah.
the field?
Yeah, big. I mean, the opening day of the transfer portal was a bad day for quite a few teams. Some big names going in the portal, some maybe more expected than others, and it was dare I say, a pretty darn good day for the Florida State football program with Jordan Travis coming back. We appreciate you joining us. Like I said, we'll be back. We'll talk about this in a more full manner with maybe more of our staff members at a later date. But we appreciate you for joining.